If you enjoy our show, spread the love wherever you listen by rating, reviewing, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff to help us get ourselves out there. And with that said, let's start the show. I'm Ode. That's Vicky. I'm me. You're you. We are we.
Oh my God, that was so corny.
The You, Me, We
goodness.
podcast. Welcome back to another episode. Vicky, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am grand.
I'm actually hungry.
Tell them about your night before we get into our conversation. Tell them about...
I went to visit friends and they threw me like a mini bridal celebration.
Yeah.
It was really cute.
Awesome.
I'm very flattered.
A surprise shower?
Yeah.
Bridal shower? Bridal, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you brides call it?
I don't know.
Were there strippers? I don't know how bridal showers work.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was like the four of us. It's hard to get all of us on the same schedule. We live, not even joking, between two states. We are all over New Jersey. One lives in, like...
West Bubble?
Yeah, in New York State. And then one lives in North Jersey. I live in Central, and the other one lives in South Jersey. So that's why I was very flattered that they would take all that time out of their schedule, hike that drive.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Shout out to all my male friends. If you want to throw me a groom shower, I don't know what. If you want to surprise me with a groom shower, Donald, Charles, putting the word out there.
Oh, so we still getting married?
I mean, if we ain't doing nothing next year, might as well, right? Everybody's doing it. So we wanted to talk about things you said you would never do. How did that even come about as a topic? I'm trying to remember what conversation we were having that...
I just realized I had to turn off my phone connection. Sorry.
Oh.
Because if somebody calls me, the other phone's going to ring. Oh, and I could just turn off the Bluetooth. Sorry.
There you go.
Wow.
So yeah, I was trying to
Because
remember...
I'm hungry.
I was trying to remember what conversation led to us talking about that, doing something you would never do. Which one of our friends posted something that we were like, he or she said she would never do that. What was it?
I don't know. Moving on.
But anyway, so we figured we know you and I, we've all had things that we definitely said, yo, I would never do. Was it Love at First Sight?
I don't watch that show.
Or Marriage at First Sight?
I don't watch that show.
Well, that's a prime example of it. That's something that a lot of people would say, I would never do that. I would never go on a reality show. That's one thing some people would say. I would never marry somebody after like only knowing them for a day or for a week, or whatever. And there's a bunch of other stuff. So we figured we would share that with you guys. Stuff that we said we've never done that either are we only sharing stuff that we said and then by now we have done it?
Yeah, why would we? There's no other conversation.
All right. So Vicky, do you have anything yet? Or do you have like what's like your top thing or one of the top things that you said, hey, I would never do that?
Get married.
And look at you now. Well, I mean, you're still on
not
track.
married. So
You're still on track.
I'm still staying strong to that cause.
Well played.
I'm still staying strong to the cause.
But that's something that like stereotypically, that's every girl's dream.
Yeah, that is
right?
So stereotypical. Like, oh, that's every girl wants to get married and have kids. Not me. That was not my dream.
Why wasn't that a dream? Why at some point in the life of Vickiana Santa Maria?
Stop calling me that, because if someone calls me that, I'm gonna curse them.
I forgot all the sub names. Why would that be on your I ain't never doing that list?
Because I hated the way that it was assigned to all women.
What do you mean? That ideology, that thought, that mindset? Okay, explain.
Because I wasn't no basic ass bitch.
There's people out there who accept that or they have that mentality. That doesn't mean they're basic. Or because it's traditional, it's basic.
Yes. I do. I find traditional stuff basic. I do. That's okay if that's your thing.
No, but
for me, it's basic.
I just say
just like to women who want to have that and be that, they feel that women who are going the opposite direction, they're being basic because they're fighting it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm laughing because that.
If you take offense, then then you just took offense. I'm not apologizing for that. That's how I feel.
No, I'm laughing because that's. Be careful saying that, because I think, like, for both of us, we can go down the lines of things that aspects of our lives that, if we look at them, they are very traditional. So, with that in mind, we are basic.
Yeah, I know. But that's totally fine. I know that in certain things I am basic. Mm-hmm. That was not one of them. That was always my thought. Like, oh, if I just want to get married and have kids, then I'm just gonna be a regular ass girl. And I never want to be a regular ass girl. And so that's how the sum adds to basic for me.
So what divine intervention changed your mind?
Well, you know what actually changed my mind was that marriage is a status thing.
That changed your mind?
Yes.
Meaning you wanted that status?
Yes. I realized it was a status thing.
Okay.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah. No.
I'm like, I'm not going to be a 30-year-old girlfriend to my longtime boyfriend.
I thought you were talking about the people who have spoken to us about marriage in regard to, like, how they look in their career. So I thought that's what you were talking about.
That too. Like, I'm not going to be, the same thing. Like, even in my professional career, let's say I'm 40-something years old. I've been with my, boyfriend. We have a child. We live together. We do everything but actually get married. Like, now I understand it's a status thing. Like,
that's crazy.
People see it as a form of stability, and I get it. And I'm like, nope, I want that.
It's like the single or dating president versus the married with a child and a dog president or presidential candidate.
Yeah.
I'm going off of the whole, like, stability thing. I always thought about that whole thing.
Well, a married president in a loving and happy relationship, and it looks like their spouse likes them. That is...
that's every president.
Prior to this one.
Did you see the most recent, like, hand slap?
I see. I don't watch anything about him, but
interesting.
That, yeah, like, I just feel like, why, if we've done everything up to this point, why not?
Gotcha.
It does mean something to me. Now, if I was someone that was like, that still won't mean anything to me, then I wouldn't care. But to me, it does.
Not saying I feel this way. Am I wrong? Would anybody be wrong for taking that and feeling like that cheapens the whole idea of marriage? Only looking at it as, like, a status thing when it comes to how you're...
No, I'm not looking at it as just a status thing. I'm looking at it as one of the things being status. It's not just a status thing. It's also
love?
Like, yeah, it's also love. But I didn't want to say love because that shit was basic too. Like, it's the whole wanting. So,
are you basic people in love?
It's people that get married for just love are basic and idiotic. You're getting married just based off of love? Seriously? So not compatibility, not that you you have the same goals, you're not goal oriented in the same direction.
But that's love. That's part of, for some people, that'll be that's under their umbrella of love. Are you thinking I meant more like, just attraction?
No, I mean, like, just love. Love is not compatibility and all that. That's not love. Compatibility is compatibility.
Is this next week's topic?
I can be compatible to anyone. That does not equate to I love them. That doesn't mean that's not the same thing. And I think that is the problem with a lot of people, that they're equating shit that is not equal.
Talk to
that
me.
Does not mean the same shit. That's what I'm saying. People that get married just for love are stupid.
I'm just gonna take that little clip right there.
It's the truth. You should not be getting married just based off of love. Like, it has to be more than that.
Okay.
Because then what happens when you don't love the person? When you're loved,
I'm having deja vu. I feel like we had this conversation.
Probably, but like, what happens if you're so in love with the person and then they do something stupid as hell tomorrow, and then you don't love them as much. What happened? You're not as married anymore? That sounds dumb.
No, you're still married, but the love
but
will
if you
bring
only
back
really
to where you
all right, Disney movie.
The love no, Lifetime? It's more Lifetime? Nah, Lifetime we would have killed each other and then
Lifetime would have been like
I remember you told me
I would have found you living in the basement.
I just remember you telling I've never watched a Lifetime movie. I remember you telling me some guy, a family, a young woman came to the door and said he's her long lost daughter, and then and then he moved her in, and then he started having an affair with her, and it turns out that she was actually his lover. And in order for her to move into the house, she was posing as his daughter. You told me about this.
I'm sure that's a Lifetime movie. So
we let them do that. And y'all was like, this is quality television. I just finished watching Lifetime.
So either way, I think marrying for just, that's not the topic, but marrying just for love is dumb.
That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, but there's other factors in wanting to get married. And it's not just love. It's not just one thing. It's a whole bunch of things. And with age, I've learned to appreciate those things and wanting them.
Which is why...
And status is one of them.
And what better...
And benefits are another.
It's okay. I don't feel used.
You shouldn't. We're not married.
You're right. Keep my benefits to myself. Me and my son benefiting from them benefits.
No, but it's the truth though. Like I just saw marriage as I saw it as something that weighed you down, something that crushed dreams, crushed hope. But I don't see it in that light anymore. I see it with the right person. It's literally like your own tiny little team, and you get to build on that. And it's like a constant support system. So that's something that I said I would never do. But with age and time, I've come to see it in a different light, and therefore I'm more open to doing it. That is one.
I could see a lot of people having that mindset because of that mindset of I will never get married because of the examples.
The examples we see, the things we see on media, and the way that people divorce like crazy,
like, why bother?
Yeah. So it's just so expensive. But how about you?
One thing I know I've literally said I'm never doing that would be going back to a relationship that ended. No, it was one of my top things I remember myself saying a lot, and I think that's one of those things that we say. That's the best example of never say never, because you don't know what you're going to do in that situation when you're actually in it. We like to say, "Oh, I'm never going to do that."
So this is something I did that I would never do again, or is this something that I said that I would never do that I did?
Yeah, that I would never do that I did.
Oh, okay.
I feel like we say that we say never. I'll never do this because we've probably never been in the situation, and then when we finally get into it, we do it. And for me, that was one of them. Up until the first time I went back to a relationship that had ended, I had always said, once it's done, it's done. I'm moving forward. Hence our last conversation. I purge. So what's the point of even going back? I already wiped the person and the memories and the emotions from me or whatever, from my life. So I'm never going back. And I'll say the first time I did it, I was like, okay, I was young and dumb. I didn't know, you'll get in a relationship that will mean a lot to you, or you will deem it as worth trying again, stuff like that. So that was one thing I know I've said, and I know a lot of people, like some of my friends who had and probably still have that mentality of, always look forward, never look backwards, So that was my top thing. And some of it too is from examples that you've seeing people go back and it not ending well, or
I never thought that.
Yeah,
never considered that.
Yeah, not even not ending well, but seeing people go back and kind of staying in a situation that wasn't the best for them. So, yeah.
What's something else for you?
Else I said I would never do?
Mine was join a sorority. I remember that. I said I would never do that.
What changed your mind? Aside from knowing that one day through that sorority you would meet your future husband.
What changed my mind? It wasn't changed my mind. What piqued my interest was people approaching me, asking me if I was an interest for the sorority I ended up joining, which I thought was so weird. Which is how I actually found out about them. And I had like different Greek members, actually male Greek members, tell me like, "Yo, are you an interest for this sorority?" And I'm like, I don't even know.
Looks.
But it was guys from different Greek organizations that'd be like, "Oh my God, you look like you would really mix really well with this org." And they weren't on my campus at the time, so I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. And that piqued my interest. And then I started attending Greek, what are those called? Interest meetings.
Interest meetings, yes.
I was going to be like recruitment meetings.
Isn't it like a coffee name? Espresso? I've seen that name.
I think some people I think every org, we call them differently. We don't call them interest meetings. And I started going through them, and I was like, oh my God, they're so phony. I can't take this.
And you was like, never.
And it would be like, it was so funny because like at the end of them, like sometimes they'll pass like a board like, oh, if you want more information, you want to stay up to date with our events and things like that, just fill your name out here. And I remember
I sat
in one and it was like, I sat in one and it was a person here and a person here. And like, they're like, oh, you're going to write your name down? And I was like.
So floor handed to you, you just pass it over to Pam?
Imagine. No, and I stand, but like I was such an asshole because the person's looking at me like the person of that sorority was looking at me, and I was just like, girl, you fake. I would never. And then once I met the sisters from the org I ended up joining, I was like, oh, I do kind of like mix. I can see myself in there. I do feel like I mix better with them. And I was like, let me just give this a shot. And then that's how I ended up doing it. It wasn't that I was like, oh, like, yeah, I can't wait. It was like, all right, let me just try it.
Sorority life.
But then when I told my sister that I was going to join.
She got mad?
No, she was like, you can't drop. She's like, I'm Greek. I didn't drop. Don't embarrass me.
I went to that school.
I went to her school. And she's like, don't embarrass me. You can't drop. So if you're going to do this, you have to see it through. I don't care if you end up liking it or not. You have to see it through. And I'm like, all right.
You know what's one thing I said I would never do? I feel like a lot of people, everyone probably says it. I've definitely said, I will never compromise my values or morals or my integrity for a paycheck.
I thought you were going someone else with that, so let me take that back.
Oh, wait. Should I keep going or you want to?
Nah.
Oh, now I'm interested.
I thought you were going somewhere else with it.
Oh, okay. Well, hold that. I think I want to go back to that. I'm curious. And in no way am I referring to my current job at all. I want to keep a job. But I'm sure we've all said that at one point. And depending on your current situation, you might have been in a job where you're like...
Oh, yeah, like where people will say something nasty to you and you got to bite your tongue or speak to you a certain way.
Or your superior will ask you to do something that, had you not needed that check, you ain't doing that. That's not me, or that's not fair. I'm not going to do that. We each know individuals who have either left the job or lost the job because they weren't budging. It's like, these are my morals, these are my values, or I don't feel like I'm not going to do that. That's not fair to the person you're asking me to do that to, or to me, to put me in that situation, and they've left the job. Mm-hmm. And actually, we know somebody right now who recently was like, you know what? I'm not being treated properly. Mm-hmm. And they bounced.
I do know someone like that. Yeah. Like, they're like, I told you A, B, C, and you came back on B, so I'm out.
Yeah, but and there's also some who are like I was referring to, are told or asked to do things that are like, for some people probably illegal, some people probably definitely immoral, But because you got mouths to feed, because you got bills to pay, because you got a Dominican wife that wants rice and some other Dominican meals that you eat.
I don't know.
And Birkin bags and
definitely not me. I know if you're talking about Dominican people, remember it's not Birkin bags. They like Michael Kors.
Here's how poor I am. I don't even know if I hesitated saying Birkin bag. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Birkin.
Yeah. Birkin.
I was gonna say Bergen bag.
No, Birkin.
From North Bergen.
Okay.
Birkin. I don't know rich people stuff.
Me either. I don't use.
I always thought Steve Madden was rich people stuff until I bought a pair of Steve Madden shoes on sale.
Wow.
Steve Maddens aren't like rich people stuff?
No.
Okay. So yeah, like I said, I know I've been in that situation before, and at the time I was in a situation where I'm like, yo, like the job is asking for it. I ain't got no other job.
Yeah. I
I'll
had a
do
conversation similar to someone with regards to that. I had a conversation with someone, like I feel like earlier today, about like how much they hate their job, but they're like,
I got mouths to feed.
Yeah.
That's true. What were you getting at when I said people who will go against their morals, their values, their religious beliefs, the legal system? What were you referring to?
I thought you were gonna be like, for a relationship. I'm like, yes.
Oh
yes,
no.
Yes. That's
is
literally.
That something you said you'd never do? Which there's probably people who, Have you ever?
I'm like, I would never give a man power over me. And I'm like, looking back,
people have said that.
Looking back, I'm like, has there ever been a time where I was like not giving up my power? Jesus Christ.
We've all at some point said, I will never let somebody take advantage of me. every male, I guess, who considers himself like, I guess that whole like machismo, bravado kind of approach, at one point has said, ain't no woman gonna take advantage.
Tell me what to do. I do what I want.
Listen, I do what I want. Ain't no woman gonna hurt me or come on, son. And then
they meet that one girl.
5 months later, they're at their boy. Yo, I can't believe she did that. I let her back in my house.
Yeah, I definitely. That's what I thought you were going with. I was like, yes.
Then I noticed some people who, along the same lines, I said it as a joke earlier, but they have said, I would never let somebody put me in like a legal type situation just for a relationship. I know a guy who, I think he was like hanging out with a girl, and let me stop the story now.
Yeah, just stop.
Yeah, they just like, he just put himself in situations that were illegal because of her, for her, and stayed with her. And he's like, I said I would never do this.
Yeah.
First of all, that's not something you should have to tell yourself you would never do, because you shouldn't be in those situations at all.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Definitely.
I did not think you were, but it makes, I didn't think you were referring to that, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
'Cause we've all said, but then, like we said earlier, I guess in those situations, circumstances determine how much.
Circumstances, and that you're not thinking clearly because you're thinking with your heart.
Yes.
And it's hard to think clearly when your emotions are wrapped up.
You know what that reminds me of? Only because I had this conversation earlier when some of my brothers, we were talking about the shooting in Wisconsin that just happened.
With the cop?
Yeah. And if you look at the comments under videos of interactions with the police that went bad, there's always people that say, hey, that couldn't be me. Like, let them try that with me. And then the conversation we were having earlier, and then there's certain actions that the person who is, assaulted, abused, or whatever, sometimes there'll be an action that they took that some will say, oh, that is what, what's the word? Not entice. That's the word that that action escalated the police officer's action as well.
Yeah.
And then some people be like, I saw a comment today on a video that a person said, I don't know how I would have reacted in that situation. I probably would have also done something that some would say escalated. When I got into my car accident in November or December, I was outside the car when the police pulled up. Me and the other driver, we were outside the car, and the police was walking towards me. And I was just like, oh, cops here. And I started walking towards him. And he was like, whoa, stay right there. in my head, I was like, what the hell were you doing? It's like 1 a.m. This cop doesn't know what's going on, and you just automatically walk towards him. And I was like, no, you're right. You never know what you would do in certain situations. Not saying the person's reaction is justified, but those people who say, yo, that couldn't be me, or like, you don't know.
You really don't know. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, you don't know how you're going to act.
You actually might be the person that, I hate to say this, but that like takes this abuse that a person gives to you. You might be the person who naturally,
in that moment, you're just thinking, I just want to live.
I just want to live. Or you might be the person that you live your life as a very calm, timid person, but you're the person that fights back. And you don't know where that came from. You never know.
It's true. You never know.
Because in, like you said, circumstances and stuff, because I have a child, now my want to live and get home is much stronger. Or because my child is nearby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things are so different. Like it all depends on all the circumstances and the importance that is for certain people. So it is so much easier to criticize and say, oh, I would have done this differently. I would never let them do that to me. And it's like,
even in the relationship thing that we talked about earlier, hey, because we have invested so much time, because we have a family, I'm okay with throwing aside the never say never part because I love this person, because I love us, because I whatever. No, that's why I'm still here. So screw that. Never.
Oh my God! Never. How about I would never stay with someone because we have kids.
You know who says that?
Us.
People that don't have what? Huh? Why you made it personal? The sound effect.
I have a headache, and now like that worsened it.
What the hell was that about?
That's what I get for making it personal.
I don't know if I should do a Homer Simpson. Dope. I don't know if I'm trying to think what sound effect to add when we put this clip out. Anyways,
people say that all the time.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to stay just because we got kids.
I was going to say people who say that are people who are in shitty relationships and don't have kids, or people who don't have kids.
I know, but it is a true statement, though. Yeah. Like, you should never stay. Like, you actually do more harm staying.
Yeah.
Why? Well, you got something to say? Why you made that face?
No, honestly, it was just all the nevers that we just spoke about just all kind of like hit me. I think especially the one we talked about like being in a situation with like police brutality or something like that. It honestly, that was a genuine moment of like I got overwhelmed. I seriously just got overwhelmed out of nowhere. Like, damn, because that's going to be a conversation with the recent shooting.
Yeah.
The actions of the gentleman who, thank God, as of right now, last night he's still alive.
Yeah, last I checked, he was still alive.
People are gonna talk about him going into the car, in a manner that some say looks like you're going for a gun, while some will say that should justify what the police did, or that should justify the police feeling threatened. I'll leave it at that. Some people might say that because the reaction seemed a little excessive. Like, not even seemed. It was. I'm sorry. I don't want to.
I remember the last time I had a conversation about anything like this with an actual officer. It was when, I mean, it's literally been so many victims that I am running out of names.
Yeah.
He was like, he definitely wasn't one of the first ones, but he nationally, like, it started the whole thing. Michael something.
Why am I drawing a blank? The one in New York?
No, he wasn't in New York, and that he laid there for hours. It was years ago. Michael.
Oh yeah, it was.
Was that his name?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes.
She took a Michael Brown.
Michael Brown. Okay. And so, wow, 6 years ago. Yeah. So 6 years ago, I remember having this conversation, and I remember being on Facebook, And I remember an officer saying, like, oh, if whatever. And he was just doing, like, that same, like, officer argument about it. Like, the whole, oh, but, you know, what if this? And, you know, we're trying to get home, too, and whatever. And he's like, oh, what would you do in that situation? And I remember just, like, telling him, like, it doesn't matter what I would do in that situation. I'm not the one that's getting paid and got trained to handle that situation. You can't equate what I would do to that situation, not being an officer, to what you should have done as an officer. So I remember, like, just having that discussion and the whole, like, oh, but I'm trying to get home too. And I was like, oh my God, you're, like, completely missing the point kind of thing. I was just like, yeah, I'm done having this conversation. Like, and then, like, I've, through the years of just paying attention when people talk, I just listen to some words. Yeah. And when they say certain words, I'm like, oh, okay, I know exactly where you're going with this. And I kind of just, I'm like, I'm not going to waste my breath kind of thing. But it is another conversation that's going to spark. And I hope that he lives to tell the story on his side, because so many times we don't get the story of the person. But that is definitely a good, I would never, you know, I said I would never do something and I ended up doing it. Like, that's definitely one of those, because every person has to imagine, okay, moving forward, how am I going to interact with a police officer? Yeah. I would never allow them to Yeah. But when push comes to shove and you're in that moment, depending, you never know the area you could be in that's going to influence it. You don't know who's going to be around that could influence it.
You don't know who that officer is.
You don't know who the officer is. Yeah. You don't know what part of town you in. You don't know all these things that influence that moment. So That is definitely true about that conversation.
You know what that video reminded me of? And to the point where I caught myself, like, watching it, I, like, jumped back. I was like frozen for a second, because it reminded me of story time. This is maybe 2007. This is a fictional story. Let's say the character's name is Bode and the other person's name is Bowie J. And their fictional dad. So they were at this park area, and I was at this park area, and it was a trip that my grandmother had organized. So this is a family event. This is a bunch of people, over 100 people, just all hanging out in this park, and somehow some of us looked, like my brother and I looked over to the entrance area, and we don't know what the background was, but my dad and some other gentleman was literally scuffling. So we jump into action. We speed over there. I think some other people kind of sped over there too. And this guy's vehicle is there. And so my dad and this guy are scuffling, and the guy somehow pulls away from my dad and goes towards his car. And I want to say either we just automatically assumed what he was going to his car for, or my dad said something. But my brother and I pounced on this guy, pulled him backwards, and dropped him to the ground and refrained him. We held him down. I remember myself just looking at him saying, "Chill, chill." My brother wasn't so calm because he's from that side of Canarsie. He wasn't so calm. He wasn't so what's the word? But peaceful with it. Mm-hmm. So I could see that's why the guy misunderstood what our goal was, because I'm there holding him down, telling him chill, while my brother is taking advantage of the fact that he is incapacitated. Yeah. Right. But we pulled him away from the car and we held him down. This is me, 140 pounds soaking wet, and no training whatsoever in doing that. And that was my first thought. That was our first thought. Mm-hmm.
So you're wondering why it can't be theirs?
Why it can't be theirs?
Because they're not trained to do that.
But I thought they were.
They're not. Did you see people when people say it's working how it's supposed to? We've been sold this idea that police are there to protect us, but the system works exactly how it's supposed to work. Hence why people are asking cities and states to defund them because they need to take the system and vanish it and build a new one. So they're saying, like, it's working how it's supposed to. You can't get mad at the way that it's played out because that is exactly what it was built to do.
You know something a lot of my friends, some specific friends have said to me over the years that they would never do? They would never join law enforcement. And some of them are in law enforcement for the right reasons and doing their best to somehow inspire change. But I know for a fact when we were younger, I've heard them say, because of our personal experiences with police growing up in Brooklyn, I remember them saying, yo, bro, I would never, yo. And because of circumstances, because of experiences, things they went through, things they saw, they changed their mind, and that never say never went out the door, and they are doing their best to hopefully in the future that other young black men aren't saying, yo, I would never join law enforcement because of actions.
Yeah.
Whew. Let's play some cards, Vicky.
Are you going to feed me after this? Thank you.
There's food downstairs.
No, there isn't.
Well, there's rice.
Damn, you sound like my mom.
And there's eggs.
Hay comida en la casa.
Yes, there is comida in la casa.
The only reason why you understood that is because those are phrases that Kalel says all the time.
Pick a card, Vicky. This is where we...
Did you pick cards for me and now you left me with
I got
options?
rid of the cards we've used already. For those of you who've been checking us out, we play this little game.
And I'm going to pick.
At the point of every show. At this point of every show, it's nice little conversation starters. There's several different versions of this game out there on the market. We play this game with our therapist as well. So we're going to quickly pick a card. Vicky will ask a question. I will answer, and vice versa. Who's going first? I'll go first, since you're being quiet. Vicky, what is your favorite memory of us?
When we went to Baltimore. Was it Baltimore? Or like that place where we rode the bicycle?
Give me a little more.
We were by like a beach and we stayed with your sisters.
Oh, was it Baltimore? Virginia? It's a while. Wow, this is a while back.
That's like one of those, like, it has like one of those really big attractions, roller coaster attractions.
Early. Oh, it's when you made me waste $7 on a haunted house.
Yes.
Okay.
I forgot that was.
You owe me $7.
I think I've paid that back, like freaking billionfold by now.
Okay. What's the question?
Yeah, I would say.
Why?
Because you were so like enamored with me. You were like taking all these pictures and wanting to do all this cheesy stuff with me.
Okay.
And I still remember that little girl asking you if you were her dad.
We were at a rest stop.
And that happened twice to you, actually.
We were at a rest stop and some little girl comes up to me and she's like, "Are you my dad?" In my head, I'm like, maybe. But I'm like, no.
Yeah, because the last time you were in that area was about this age of this little girl.
The last time I had been in that area was 2004. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we were there in like, what was that, 20? Yeah.
Yeah, she was like about 6 or 7.
Anyway, but I had not done anything when I went there in 04. Go ahead.
Okay, how would you define our relationship?
Never say. No, I'm sorry.
Yo, if there is a slogan for our relationship.
How would I describe our relationship? I would. Can we do one of those like one word kind of things? How would I describe it in one word?
Why? Because you're trying to get out of it?
No. I'm trying to.
No, give a description. Hence why I said, oh.
What?
Same thing. How would you define our relationship?
What did you say? Describe?
Yeah.
I would define our relationship as enduring. Is that what I'm looking for? Enduring. Because we have both endured a lot throughout our relationship. I know I'm saying it like I'm joking, but I'm being serious.
I know you're being serious. It's just that how fitting it is.
You're laughing in agreement. So our relationship is enduring and everlasting. Just throwing that in for good measure. Enduring.
Trying to balance.
Yeah.
But that's how you defined it? I didn't say you could choose one word. You have to give it a definition.
Our relationship is enduring. It has endured through a lot. And
I know what
because
enduring
of that,
means.
I know, and because of that, I feel, yes, I think that's the best word to describe it. That's the best way to describe it. Yeah. Don't challenge me. I will endure your questions.
You're so
That's
annoying.
probably wrong usage. Okay. All right, Vicky, let's end off on a positive note. Let's give the people some positive vibes before we go.
Okay, what's yours?
So for those of you who have been listening for the past 2 episodes, we have decided to end our episodes with some positive vibes. We want to give you some positive vibrations. You know the vibes.
You're so annoying.
And we want to highlight a lot of our friends or just positive things that we've encountered or seen or just want to talk about. And I wanted to talk about a good friend of mine. Not a good friend, but somebody that we know.
Damn, you just how you demoted them so quickly.
No, because I don't want.
A good friend. Nah, chill. Hold on.
Because I don't want to BS. We're friends. He's been on my podcast. His name is David Robinson, and I wanted to highlight him because he is an author. And the last time he was on my Make Party podcast, it was talking about his first book, Defending the Enemy. It was a daily devotional, and he is currently working on his new. No, I think it's done. His new book, which is called "It's Biblical, Not Political." And it's coming out soon, and there's pre-orders going on right now. And we actually met David at his brother's wedding that I DJ'd for in Dominican Republic. His brother married your sorority sister, and that never would have happened if you had stuck to your never say never and joined the sorority. See?
Oh, that's true.
Domino effect.
You're saying that never would have happened, doesn't you wouldn't have DJ'd a wedding?
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that gig. Yeah.
Wow.
I need my gigs, dog.
I was like, wait, I'm trying to find how this benefited me.
So the positive vibe I want to leave y'all with or spotlight this week is David Robinson's new book, It's Biblical, Not Political. In this time of unrest, I know some people, or in any time of unrest, some people will turn to their faith. So I think for those of you who identify as religious or Christian or spiritual, and you're looking for your faith to guide you through this political season, I think it's a good book to pick up, pre-order. So it's David N. Robinson. It's Biblical, Not Political. You can pre-order now. And when we post this, we'll have his information in there. So shout out to you, David, and continue to make party with your book and with your talent. Vicky?
So my positive for this week is actually the sermon we listened to on Sunday.
True.
I think that was a really good sermon, like to the point. Okay, first of all, I know some people were like, did she
like,
say sermon?
Wait,
like
Vicky?
as in a church?
Vicky Santa Maria Guadalupe?
Is she? Oh, Day, I swear, I have 2 rubber bands here. I received links to sermons from my line sister, who was also the one that I was at her house, who was one of the people that threw me the surprise bridal thing. She sent me like a bunch of different sermons to listen to. And she was like, oh, you should really listen to this one. She actually did give me the minute mark on that one because she was like, listen, more than half of that, just skip over it. It's just like announcements. So we listened to the sermon. So our new thing is we listen to
we tune into
a church
a church service
or
that day,
we listen to a sermon or something. It's like our slow walk into that direction. So I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. Like, I think it was so good that I even told the day, I'm actually gonna go listen to it again and take notes. And it was funny because remember how I said that to you? So when I drove down there, I told her, I was like, oh my God, I listened to it. I thought it was so great. The other 2 were like, yo, send it to me. And she was saying, yeah, it was so good that I ended up taking notes. And I was like, oh my God, I just told the day, like, I'm going to listen to it to take notes because I just didn't think it was going to be that good. It was really, really good. And I think that was a great positive. And it's like, I feel like applicable to anyone. You don't have to be married because he was talking in reference to marriage. But I think that if you're in a relationship, that the point of being in a relationship is to eventually get married. I wish somebody would have told me that a long time ago. I also would have avoided a lot of stuff. But I think it was a great sermon, and it definitely added much needed guidance into the way that I want to approach our relationship.
Yeah. And for those wondering, it was the video was from High Place Church, and it was the sermon was The Danger of Flying on Autopilot.
It was so good.
So definitely check that out. High Place Church, The Danger of Flying on Autopilot. And it asks you to compare your relationship, or look at your relationship as a plane, and what it needs to stay in the air.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good.
Check that out. All right. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of the You, Me, We podcast.